It's our really great honor for the second year running to host the Ray of Hope Biomimicry Challenge Award, sponsored by Biomimicry Institute and the Ray Anderson Foundation. Biomimicry was really one of the founding inspirations for Bioneers in 1990, and the idea, is disarmingly simple. How would nature do it? And you can spend many, many, many lifetimes trying to answer that question. The essence of biomimicry really is that the solutions in nature surpass our conception of what's even possible. I mean, it's really mind-blowing every step of the way. And there's nothing like having 3.8 billion years of R&D at your back, Today, biomimicry is actually really starting to permeate even the mainstream of technology and design science. Now it really needs to become the default position also for education, and baked into everything that we learn and do. And perhaps no one has been more influential in advancing that process than Janine Benyus and the Biomimicry Institute. And I also really want to honor the Ray Anderson Foundation. We were very blessed to have Ray himself here when he was alive do an incredible keynote. Ray had an epiphany after he read Paul Hawken's book, The Ecology of Commerce, and took a billion-dollar company top to bottom and applied biomimicry principles and proved to the business community that it's more profitable actually to copy nature than to destroy it. And his descendants and his children have taken on the foundation to spread it far and wide, hence this award. But it was an epic moment in 1997 when Janine first spoke here. We got a letter that summer after the program was all locked and decided, saying, gee, I've got this book coming out and it sounds like it would be really well aligned with what Bioneers is about, and the rest is history. We squeezed Janine into the program, and it's been an incredibly wonderful relationship ever since. And I want to let you know we're also deepening our partnership with the Institute. California has done mandated environmental literacy for all as putting environmental education mandatory in K through 12 public schools. And that is 6.2 million students, right? And what happens in California doesn't stay in California. So what we're going to do next summer, 2018, with the Institute is to produce a mini conference for professional educators in the state and school system administrators to continue to advance their awareness of biomimicry education. And hopefully the longer term goal is to actually have biomimicry become part of that K through 12 eco-literacy education. And just imagine how different a world it will be when our kids learn about nature by learning from nature, right? When they can have the tools and the knowledge to actually apply so that we can really walk the talk and actually live that way. So that's where this is all heading. And it's my great honor now to introduce Beth Ratner, the very esteemed executive director of the Institute, who has also spoken here many, many times. Beth Ratner.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Okay, fantastic. So we're here to celebrate the Ray of Hope Prize for the second year in a row. We are doing this in partnership with the Ray C. Anderson Foundation, and frankly, without them, we would not be at this level, and I want you to hear a little bit about where we are today. So most design challenges out there don't hold this question. This is by Thomas Berry, famous Catholic priest, eco-theologist, right? How should humans live upon the earth in a mutually enhancing relationship? How many design challenges hold that question? One. When we break apart that sentence of how do humans and earth work together, you have to break it apart. Well, who are humans? Humans create things. We create cities, we create clothes, we create social structures, a lot of which that don't work. But when you break it apart of who are those humans that are creating, it's designers, it's engineers. How do designers and engineers find their ideas? They look to other humans. They look to other markets, they look to other cultures, they may look in the past, they may look to the mentors who brought them on. They look to other humans. There's a flaw in that. What has gotten us is a system that focuses only on three things: cost, performance, and aesthetics. But as we know, if a pretty jacket gives you cancer, it's not pretty. If it takes a lot of money to clean up your rivers because you don't have any clean water anymore, that cost needs to be integrated into the price of what you buy. We have to, right? And if it doesn't perform as part of a circular economy, it doesn't really perform. So what's biomimicry? Who doesn't know what biomimicry is? I thought so. So this is what we're here to do. This is what we're here to teach. And it is this process. It's not just bio-inspired design, right? It's not just mechanical bees. It's actually the idea of working toward a sustainable economy, a regenerative economy and social structure. That's a very different thing than just, hey, I'm inspired by that tree, right? It's a deep understanding. It's an ethos. What we have to remember is that natural organisms have done everything that humans want to do. Like, it's taught us how to make, like I said, it can make the color black, it can make this hydrophobic, but it does it without guzzling fossil fuels, and it does it without polluting our planet, and certainly without mortgaging the future for our kids. We're at a place right now where the problem is that most designers and engineers did not take biology recently, if at all. So what do? How do you cross that chasm? We have a tool. It's called Ask Nature. But you can actually type in a functional question. How does nature adhere? How does nature create color? And it's going to give you a list of examples. And one of our board members talks about this as, think about it like the Human Genome Project. What if we could take all of the millions of organisms, understand them by function, and put that into a single database? And now that's the tool that we use to create the future that we want to see. There's a number of schools that are catching on to this. There are programs in biomimicry at Harvard, there's at Caltech, they're at MIT. It's starting to permeate the upper echelons of academia. It's also getting a lot of press because in terms, if you compare bio-inspired design patents against standard utility patents, we're like a hockey stick curve. We are going up exponentially. In 2009, McKinsey did a report on design challenges, mostly questioning how valuable they were. It looked at about 30,000 different challenges at the time worldwide. Of those 30,000, 219 had a purse of over $100,000. Of those 219, 29 focused on energy, climate, or environment, probably mostly energy. How many of them looked to nature-inspired design? That was the requirement for a design challenge. Until us. We started this process in 2009, and it was together with the Ray C. Anderson Foundation that we got to a much better level. They were the ones who brought in that kind of money. They were the ones who said, this is worthy of everybody inventing this way. So we're going to make it real. We now have had 2,000 participants come through our program representing 44 different countries. Half are women. If you guys were here last year, you'll remember this slide. This is the teams who appeared last year. 6 of the 7 teams have gone on to run new businesses. They are going forward. There are stories, there are proof points that biomimicry works. And it's largely because the Ray C. Anderson Foundation didn't want to see anybody go home empty-handed. They gave money to everybody. We're at a point right now where this is the next set of finalists. This is the next cohort that's coming through. And this is the criteria that I want you guys to keep in mind as they do their little pitches for you. Are they faithful to the biology? That's first and foremost. This is not, again, just a light inspiration. It's got to be a deep integration. Like any good business, do they understand the market? Is it replicable? Remember, nature doesn't scale. A virus replicates. It adapts to new conditions. Can these solutions do that same thing? Do they have a functional prototype? Does it really work? And then finally, does it follow nature's unifying patterns? When you think about nature's unifying patterns, it's things like, does it surf for free, right? Does it use abundant local energy? that doesn't cost anything? Does it use local abundant resources? These are the deeper principles that their inventions incorporate, and sometimes they're not all that obvious. I'm going to give you a couple of thoughtful details about each one of the teams, and they're going to come up as I say something about them. And then they're going to give their 90-second pitch. So mine first is like we're at a cocktail party together, I'm telling you you should meet Team Windchill. Team Windchill is amazing because they started in our student competition last year. They're out of University of Calgary. They are still students. Imagine refrigeration without refrigeration, without refrigerants, which Project Drawdown calls the #1 contributor to greenhouse gases. Imagine a team who's thinking about that differently. Team Slant out of Chile. Imagine there was an app that could reconnect people back to their farmers. It's not just a question of always having to go to the supermarket. There's actually a way to return to that deeply personal relationship of where can I find food. In other cultures, before supermarkets are coming on board in the same way that they've dominated the United States, there's still a chance to disintermediate that system. Team Slant's thinking about that. Team NexLoop. They hail out of New York, Croatia, and Germany. They're tackling the very real problem of water capture in a different way that works for urban agriculture. And I'm going to let them tell you about their idea. Team ShareEET. They come out of England, but they originally are Italian women. What's interesting about Team ShareEET is that most of the time when we think about biomimicry solutions, we think about a very tangible thing. Here's the product I can hold in my hand. That is not true for this team. They are reconceiving of a behavioral shift. So you're going to see a different kind of biomimicry applied when you hear their solution. Team Bial from Colombia. So just as we've had emergency situation here in Northern California, imagine a system, especially in developing countries, where you can provide fresh food immediately, not just big packaged, prepackaged, long stored on shelves kind of food, immediately appropriate for that culture in a biodegradable coating. It's a different model for how to provide disaster relief in the moment. That's Team BL. And finally, there's Team Evolution Solutions. They're out of San Diego, also with an international team as well. They're taking hydroponics, which is in Europe alone is looking at about a $45 billion investment because Europe's running out of land. It doesn't want to use toxic pesticides and fertilizers. Yet there's a real problem in trying to get organic produce to grow in hydroponics. There's a real problem in trying to understand how to scale a system in an appropriate dosing manner. But what if nature provided an algorithm that would let them do that? Here's what I want you to keep in mind as I turn over the clicker and mic to the first team. What Buckminster Fuller said is, I'm not trying to copy nature. I'm trying to find the principles that she's using. That's a really different model for how we can develop a new relationship with nature. And when we have a relationship like that, it's based on respect. And when we have respect, we have change. Thank you very much. Team Windchill is up first.
Hello, everyone. My name is George or Jorge Zapote.
And my name is Victor Vanorio.
And we feel very lucky and happy to be here with all you Bioneers today. But there's lots of people around the world that haven't been so lucky to live somewhere like we do. 1.2 billion people, 95% of which live in developing communities and countries, don't have access to electricity. There's lots of reasons why this is an issue, but one we're trying to tackle is food preservation, refrigeration. Without refrigeration, freezing, or some sort of food preservation, you time, your money, your harvests, your independence is lost. So in trying to tackle that problem, what we've done is we've asked the question, how does nature regulate temperature? There's lots of different exciting approaches, but the ones that have stood out to us are termites, elephants, kangaroos, bees, and manta rays. We've taken lessons from the manta ray of determining functionality from form, evaporative cooling from elephants, using passive structures of the termite mounds to regulate temperature, and lots of other ones that I don't have time to go through. But what we've done is we've taken those lessons and we've put them towards developing a unit that can be implemented and has been implemented in a community that doesn't have that access to electricity. The point we're trying to do with that is to have the social impact, a modified consumer product, and sell that consumer product to gain the funds to be able to help all the people we want to help. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jose Hernandez, and this is Laura Cousin. We are developing an app that we try to get people back from supermarkets to farmers market. That is the old way we used in the 90s before the organic word was used, but everything was organic and it was way more sustainable. So we trying to get the control back and make this app a way to empower people forming stronger communities, but also more sustainable practices. In that way, we trying to put this network of interconnected people as a way to give them information to organize themselves. And I think it's time to get control back from the big companies and be brave to organize ourselves to get back to our communities and what's local. Because it's not about food, it's about where do you live and what nature goes with that. And in that way we are mimicking these Argentinian ants that doesn't use isolated nests, but they use like a bigger community and they share as a species one interconnected network. In the same way we can empower people back and take control from the big companies. Thank you.
Hi there, we're Team NexLoop. My name is Jacob Russo. This is Anna Maria and C-Mike. We're a collaborative, international, and interdisciplinary team of architects, biologists, and urban farmers. We've been working remotely for about 1.5 years, and actually on Wednesday was the first time we all met in the same room for the first time. So, thank you. We design products and systems to integrate in situ, in place, atmospheric water into urban food production. And we're looking at species such as spiderwebs, the common ice plant, mycorrhizal fungi, and bee and wasp hives to really integrate a biomimetic food, water, and energy nexus into how we build our next future cities. And as Bioneers, we really want to bring together multiple disciplines and multiple stakeholders and really look at nature to inspire us and bring together food, water, energy, and all the resources that we're going to need to really thrive in the future. Thank you.
Hello everyone, we are and Juliana, co-founders of ShareEET. So animal culture scene in Wales, smart swarming bacteria, white-fronted bee-eater communities, and the Wood Wide Web were the organism that inspired our social innovation that is trying to reduce food waste by challenging consumerist behaviors towards food. So ShareEET is an educational tool that provides 2 experiences to make a change in your own way. So At ShareEET, it's a new dining model that challenges people to share resources more equitably through a micro-world metaphor where you have limited resources for a set amount of people and access to local and seasonal food. So ShareEET is a workshop, but it's also a restaurant where the challenge is to make sustainable choices to share food more efficiently, and also where you can see the impact of your choice on the whole system and on the community. So ShareEET provides experiential learning so that you can find the tools to make changes in your own way and take a step towards more sustainable food consumption. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Maria Jose, and I'm here with Andrea from Bogota, Colombia. We developed, we were supposed, well, the challenge was to look for a problem in the food system for the future, and we realized that we already have a big problem of food waste and a lot of people that are being hungry while others have a lot. And we tried to make a system of food that can be protected without using plastics. So the inspiration, thank you, which is a very hard work because everybody wants to invest on plastics and it's difficult to develop new materials. And we, with all these arguments, we got people interested in the project, telling them that nature can do it without plastics and without refrigeration, without many things. And so we developed this idea of energy ball protected by an edible coating, which is inspired by fruit peels, in a modular form that is a complete meal that can be used in any type of emergency, from a daily emergency of not having time to have lunch to a real difficult emergency like after a flood or a natural disaster. And this year has been terrible because all over the world so many things have happened, and we really wanted to have this ready to start giving to people. And it is within a business model where everybody can buy it and they will donate at the same time when they consume it. So when there is a disaster, all the production will go to help people that need it, and everybody will be able to help and share with others. Thank you.
A hydroponic farmer in a developing country like Syria or Kenya has to rely on synthetic fertilizers that he has to import from other countries. This is a big bottleneck that stops his hydroponics by being adapted. And at Evolution Solutions, we have a solution to remove that bottleneck. Inspired by the way nitrogen fixation happens in cyanobacteria and the way a skunk cabbage regulates its temperature by modifying its respiration rate, we have come up with a solution to take in raw food materials and convert into organic hydroponic fertilizer and dose it into your hydroponic farm. So this helps to reduce the operation cost of the hydroponic farming and makes the hydroponic farm far more efficient, and help people get access to organic food even in developing countries.
Big round of applause for all of our participants. I want to now bring out John Lanier, Executive Director of the Ray C. Anderson Foundation, that makes this all possible.
Thank you, Beth. I come out here first and foremost with gratitude. So much gratitude to everyone being here, being as committed to the values that all of you are, all of which can make our world a better place. My gratitude goes as well to the people who really have given this gift. My mother and father are here. They are trustees of the Ray C. Anderson Foundation, and they, along with my Aunt Harriet and Uncle Phil Langford, who are not able to be here, they're the ones who make this all possible. My gratitude to Nina, Kenny, and Josh, and everyone at Bioneers for being such an amazing home. We have loved being here this year and last year. It's been an amazing partnership. We're so thankful. The gratitude goes as well to the Biomimicry Institute, to Beth and her whole team who put on this challenge and work with these teams all along the way. It has truly been a remarkable journey, and they have been the ones steering the ship. We are here. We, the Ray C. Anderson Foundation, are here because we believe this is one of the best ways that we can carry forward the legacy of Ray Anderson. And that is a legacy, and his example through Interface's company, it's a legacy that at its core has the idea that when done right, business can be a force of good in the world. That example, that story, that legacy is but a whisper, but it can turn into a roar with more people who embrace it. And at the end of that roar, when we have silence and quiet again, we will have a paradigm shift. And that paradigm shift in our economic systems will be one in which we can't tell the difference between the moral imperative and the economic opportunity that come with doing things the right way. And it is these teams that are helping to carry that legacy forward. So my gratitude goes to you all as well. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your innovations, your commitment, and all that you will do every day of your lives to continue to change this world and to change our economic systems. They will go on to be commercially viable and successful with these enterprises, and today is just a step along the way. And I'm proud to say that all of you will be receiving prize funds from this challenge. But we will be recognizing 3 teams in particular. And so I first begin by acknowledging our 3rd place finishing team in the 2nd annual Biomimicry Global Design Challenge. Finishing 3rd in this competition is Evolution Solutions. Our 2nd place team this year is Windchill. And the grand prize winning team for the $100,000 Ray of Hope prize is NexLoop.